Okay, so here's my video on MLA and assignment for English 1A or other classes that need like an MLA kind of overview, outline type thing, and we'll see how it goes. Um, now, they just came out with the ninth version of MLA. I have videos um, going back to the seventh and eighth. It really doesn't matter that much unless you have a professor who feels it matters and who's going to give you trouble about that. And I'm not. I just want to make sure you can um, understand basic documentation, how to document your sources, um, look educated, look authoritative, argue well, um, and really kind of, if you go to a class that is um, requiring more of you, that is going to scrutinize you more thoroughly. I want you to have a really good basis. Once you know MLA, MLA is the Modern Language Association's version of formatting. You buy a book, it's 100 and something pages long, and it'll tell you how to write papers, everything about writing papers, including grammar and mechanics like punctuation and all that. Um, I like online resources because they're always accessible, even if they're not entirely updated. I'm going to make this into an assignment where you watch the video and go to the links. I have the MLA at Purdue, the sample note, MLA sample paper with notes from Al Purdue. I want you to do two in-text citations or parenthetical citations, parentheses coming after. I mean, you can do in-text. In-text just means it's in the essay part. It's not in the works cited part. And so, if you said the authors, as Dr. King said in his Beyond Vietnam speech, I was increasingly compelled to see the war as an enemy of the poor and to attack it as such. You could do that, Um, because I'm taking this from an online source, I'm just going to put his last name, and just because I'm using one source. Now, if you're using different ones, there's stuff, there's other stuff, and you can adjust that. So all you need to do is something like that for the in-text citations. Just want to make sure that you know this, And then I'll go over. I want you to make a works cited list using MLA for ML in MLA format using EasyBib.com or another citation generator program. I don't care which. That's not an issue to me. What's an issue to me is that you do understand basic MLA formatting and that you can do it. All right. So the Owl Purdue. Um, I used to tutor at Fresno State, writing at Fresno State. After I got my first bachelor's and first master's, I was doing my second master's, which was in linguistics, language studies, and doing my second master's in um, English literature as well as a teaching credential in English. And most of the places I've tutored use the OWL. They use different resources, but they will use OWL Purdue from Purdue University. Um, the online writing lab. They have a lot of handouts. They got a lot of good stuff, and it's worth looking at. I mean, one of the things that I think is really essential that students ask me about is like, can you show an example, right? So here's an example of and I'll put that as the top link here, and I'll probably put my video once this is recorded as the top link, and I'll put the sample paper under it because you need a reference, right? Um, a lot of the first page, what's important is, you know, how do you put your name, the professor's name, the class, the date, and then up, that should all be on the left margin. And the right margin needs the last name, your last name, and then a page number. And then the page number should change every page, one, two, three, four, consecutive numbers. Your entire paper should be double spaced. It should be written as it says here, right? Titles are centered and written in 12 point New York Times Roman font. The title is not bolded, underlined, or italicized. Okay, it doesn't say the entire paper is that, but the entire paper is that. Well, no, I mean, you can. Sorry, bolding you used to underline titles and then you italicize titles, and actually in MLA the title isn't necessary. You can have an MLA format essay and not have a title. This is not a necessary thing. Unless your professor says it is, then they're the gatekeeper. Do what they say. Don't argue with them. Um, Sorry. The top left one. So your name, um, and they should just put their whole name, because otherwise it's not 100% clear. Well, it's clear, but like, first name, last name. You don't put last name, first name, or something. Just first name, last name. Um, the professor's name. Um, I have a kind of strange name. Well, no, I do. So I don't really get offended when people misspell it, but it's pretty good to spell people's names correctly. We're grading you, or giving you jobs or something. So I would look that up. Professor Moroku Nemeth, Miroku, Neme, whatever. English 1A is the class. And notice in the date, it goes date, like the day, then the month, then the year. Okay. All of this should be in 12 font, Times New Roman, and yeah. So now here they're talking, this paper is telling you what you should put, to a certain extent, what you should put in your introductory paragraph and things like this. You can see this is well, I mean, it's a 10-page paper, I guess. So you're not writing a 10-page paper. You're writing. Okay, so yeah, it's got footnotes. So it's really like an 8-page paper. Well, some of it's been omitted. I don't know. It's a 10-page paper, and then it's got a works cited footnotes and the works cited page. You're not doing that. You'll be doing 2 5-page papers, a lot of shorter papers that are about page and a half or 3 pages. So anyway, but you should have your thesis in the first paragraph. You should know what a thesis is. That it's your basic idea of your essay. Um, you're writing an essay on Howard Zinn and his philosophy of history and its significance. Why is a people's history different than conventional histories that you get often in an American classroom, right? Um, whose perspectives does he show, and why is that important? Um, for your paper, you only need 5 paragraphs as a minimum. You could do more. You need the last name page. Um, you put the titles of books in italics, like you later will put the titles of albums in italics. Um, there also is, they show you how to do quotations. Now, this is an in-text quotation. This is a parenthetical quotation or citation. Citation, sorry. And they do explain, like, you're not doing headers, and don't worry about headers or something like that, because they do have those. Don't worry about that. They show you how to do a couple of things. Like, you quoted somebody and they made a grammatical mistake. They spelled a spelling mistake, unsalable, and so they put sick, right? Meaning there's an error that's been made in brackets. If you add something to the quotation, it's in brackets. Usually you do it to fill in, maybe they have a pronoun, you don't know who the pronoun refers to, something like that. Okay, you know, like here, substantial increase in ability to earn income, like whose ability. So you write in a farmer's ability to earn income, and then you have Dan Hoff, page 5, and the periods after. Like in MLA, you put the period after the parenthetical citation, after the quotation. In APA, it used to be you put the parenthetical after. Little things. There's differences between the Modern Language Association type of formatting the American Psychological Association's type of formatting APA. There's American Sociological Associations. There's the Chicago style Turabian. There's like, I don't know. There's really three or four main styles, and then there's like, oh, something like eight from that. But if you know how to cite things in one of them, you can adjust it and do it in the other ones. Really, it shouldn't be a problem. Okay, so here's kind of they're using a lot of in-text citations. Sometimes they're introducing, before, and they just have to put the page number, and they're cool with that, et cetera, et cetera. Now, do they give you a block quote? Okay, yes. So this is page 5 here. Now, um, if you have a certain length, and this will happen, you'll be writing a lyrics and politics essay after this, which deals with music, with meaning, social justice type meanings, and you know, the way you cite poetry is the way you cite music lyrics, or the vice versa. And if you have basically, okay, for poetry, it's 3 lines or more, and then for um, prose, which is anything that's not poetry, it doesn't have lines. It's basically 4 lines. If you're quoting more than four, if you're quoting more than 4 lines, then you need to make a block quote. Okay, so you can see here. Okay, block use block quotations when quoted text runs longer than 4 lines once typed on your paper. Block quotations begin on a new line, are double spaced, and are indented half of an inch from the margin. Do not add quotation marks, not present in the original. Um, and the citation information, author name and page number, they come after the quotes and punctuation. So you're going to say whoever the author of this book was, Nicholson, 925, but they introduced that it was already Nicholson, so they didn't have to do it again there. So if you have Zinn, you're going to Zinn, page, whatever. That's what you'll put. So it's important to know, your basic in-text citations and your block citations. Okay, and then they address like, okay, kind of important things. Like if you have 2 authors, well, you can list the last name of both of them. If you have 3 or more, right, then what you do is you're going to write in Latin et al. And et al means that you have 3 or more authors. It's and then you can just write the first author and et al. And then the page number. Here's another block quotation, right? Baker et al. Page 14. Okay. So, okay, conclusion. Make sure you wrap up everything you're saying. I mean, it should be like restatement of your thesis, a summary of your arguments, and in your body paragraphs that reinforce your thesis or back up your thesis, and then the conclusion should do those, and then leave the reader with something to think about. Now they have endnotes. I'm not requiring you to do endnotes. You can do that if you want to, but it's more for like a proper research paper. Um, and then this is their works cited page. And everything in MLA should have a works cited page. Um, it's a list of all the sources cited in your paper. Okay, uh, listed alphabetically. If you have books, then it should be, the names of all the authors of the books first by their last name. That's how you organize it. Um, Now, if you don't know, there are things that may be missing. You may like if you look at this entry. Um, Historical Census Browser, University of Virginia Library, 2007. There is no author there. There's not there's no listed author. That's the first one. All of these have a name: Allen, Baker, Danhoff, Demery, Brown. Here, no. So you put the title of the article um, in quotation marks, and then you're going to list it alphabetically. And that's the only one. The Moral Land Grant of 1862 is the other one. And you need to include the URL. You don't have to include the HTTP, forward slash colon solutions. Um, and then you will usually need the data accessed. Um, Now, for creating this, I really do think that the most important thing to do is to follow citation generator. And EasyBib is one a student showed me a long time ago when I was teaching, I think, at Madeira College, Madeira Community College. And they have, if your source is a website, if your source is a book, your source is a journal, or if you see here, it's like 50 something other things it could be. It could be a personal interview. Maybe you want to talking about police brutality in the prison system, and you interview somebody who is a prisoner or a prison guard or a cop. Um, you want to put in a cartoon. You want to put in a newspaper entry, online video, a dissertation. It could be a personal email, right? Um, it could be all kinds of different things, music in all kinds of different ways, music recording, etc., etc. Um, so, but the mostly you're going to be using websites and books, and so I haven't published this yet because I have to upload everything. But when I do publish it, I am going to ask you to upload. I think I'll put it like say, hey, four different entries. It's loading really slow. I'm just going to stay here, but four different entries. So what I'm going to do is, like you have your Howard Zinn essay due Friday. Now you watched a video. You watched there is a doc as well. Um, the video is I want to look for yeah, online video. Let's put this on first. Okay. Um, Sorry. So the video was Howard Zinn. You can't be neutral on a moving train, right? Okay. So, look it up. See, did I get anything or not? Usually they'll make me, before I get my video, they make me watch like a minute long video. So I don't know. It's going really slow, and I even have it plugged into the. Okay. So let's just go with this. Um, and then I just go to cite, and it'll keep me through, a couple more complete citation. Oh, okay. Any performers? I don't want to put all the performers in. They put a lot. Okay. I'll just put DVD because I have the DVD. I watched it. Darn it! Stop. What is in the? Okay. Like it's like anything on computer. See, view response and message. When they ask you this, view the message. You get 48. I think you get 24 hours after you do this. So I'm listening. This is the same stuff you're going to encounter if you try using it. Uh, oh, cool. It said I unlocked my free citation. I didn't even see the video. So there, they have it. See how it's okay. So you see how it's all. And this sets it up in MLA 9 for me. I don't want to check my for plagiarism errors because. So that's the producer Howard Zinn. First run features 2011. Okay. Now I want to create another citation. just to, so I'll probably put in, say, Howard Zinn's The People's History of the United States. I have this book. I have quite a few versions of it, including a teacher's version with questions on every chapter that are really amazing. Also, I showed you like the video for A People's History of American Empire. I could cite this. Why not? This is part of a series. I mean, it's not all just written by Zinn. Um, there are, I have like the Zinn Reader, um, you know, but A People's History of the World, so world history from a people's point of view, not just great man history. People's History of American Revolution, um, A People's History of Poverty in America, you know, um, A People's History of Sports in America. Really, a really interesting book, by the way, by David Zirin, who's a great writer. Um, People's History of this is resistance in art and things like that, like different types of workers' art. It's quite cool. Other people's history. I have also I took the reading we did on Zinn Thoreau from A Power Governments Cannot Suppress. That's the name of the book that I used, and it's a great book. Um, with several essays from Zinn. Um, there are other similar, like I have a Latinx and African American history of the U.S., and this is an Afro-Indigenous history of the United States. There are all kinds of different books like this in the series. Zinn himself died in 2010. But the mission of what he does goes on, and I respect it greatly. Uh, so here's a people's history of American Empire. Try that to show you to put it in there. How it works. And I'll take you through the export process after I get a couple more books. Um, Sorry, it gets kind of boring, but um, I felt if I needed to have some kind of a resource here for you. I'll just remind you, like with anything, you can like if a video is informational, I put the most of my informational videos like on fast forward, like I listen to them at double speed or something. Um, so you might want to do that. Mm, I'm gonna put more. I think I'll just put one more book in because it's really kind of going slow, and this is becoming a lot longer of a video than I want it to be. And I know that you don't have that much time to be just watching stuff. So um, Okay. Hey, my hit book. Why isn't really? I don't want to try Easy Bib Plus. I'm gonna freaking find out who runs this in soccer. Okay, cool. If it takes too much longer, this isn't going to be a shortcut for you. I want it to be like a shortcut or a resource that helps you out. Yeah, okay, that's weird. Not sure what language that was. Yeah, okay. Yeah, City Lights Bookstore in San Francisco. Yep. City Lights Publisher. Oh, my mentors in poetry worked with the guy who owns City Lights Bookstore in San Francisco. He's a great poet and supporter of poets. And his name slips me now because, it's been too many days over 100 degrees here. All right. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I just want it to be done. Nope. I don't want to check it for plagiarism because there's no paper. Stop. All right. So once you got it done, right? I really could do a whole bunch more, but it's taking too much time, and I'm not trying to like really do that to you. Oh, um, um, so once you got all of them, um, in there, you're gonna want to export them, okay, or copy them. It depends. If I copy them, it may or may not like the. I'm gonna paste it into what you call it. It look different if I export it versus if I copy it. I usually copy it. I'll export it usually into Google Doc because I use Google Doc. Um, and the thing is, it'll come up on its own page, um, and then you have to you know integrate it into your essay, add it, you know, um, as another page in your essay, right? So, but this is how it should look. Um, Pretty much, this should actually. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this as a kind of model here. I'm going to put this on the question. Um, and you can use like one or two of the ones that I use for yours, and you may want to use it when you do your essay. Yeah. So I want you to do like four sources. Now we'll see. The problem is, like here, yeah, um, it kind of screws up all of the formatting, so it doesn't look exactly the same. I don't like that. It doesn't look like it should. So that means, oh shoot, I don't even know what the hell I just did. Um, it means yours probably won't look the same either. You know what I mean? It won't look like it's. So it's supposed to be double spaced throughout. Um, Okay. So that's what I'm going to ask you to do. Now, for questions, right, on MLA style, like, they see they have the other styles here, but, I gave you the example, but there really are general guidelines. Hey, the first paper, right? The first page. They give you the first page. Again, section headings, you don't do that unless you're asked to. Freaking. So don't worry about that, really. What you're really looking for, I showed you a sample paper, but um, you go to the formatting and style guide. Um, but the in-text citations, the basics, that's what you're looking for. How do I do my in-text citations? And like, if I have an author, if I don't have an author, all that stuff is here, right? And it gives you examples. And we're going to be using MLA throughout the semester, and I really want you to get used to it. So, one author, multiple author, uh, you know, electronic sources, some that, and then don't have, a source, whatever, um, you'll need all that. So I'll put this link, probably put the link for in-text, or I could just put the link for, um, yeah, let me just do this. I'm gonna put this one here. And you can go to it. It's got the link. I have several other things you could use um, as sources. I got some videos, but I felt really I kind of should do my own my own video, to make it more clear. And I think that's about it. I know it's not the most exciting thing on earth, far from it. Sorry, um, but I just want to make sure that I did this here. Okay, where's the? I don't want. Nope, I don't want a big. Move this. There I can move it. All right. Okay, so hopefully this covers some of the things that are essential to know in MLA, how to make a works cited list, how to do the in-text citations, you know, um, and it'll facilitate or expedite your essay writing. All right, I'll see you in class.